Welcome back to Tu Tien RV channel. In today's video, we will follow an extremely breathtaking development in the journey of Jack and Tu Tien. After the suspicious accident, Tu Tien no longer remembers who Jack is, but in the chaotic and dark memories. A painful past is gradually emerging. Jack, the man who loves her dearly, thought he simply wanted to help her recover her memory. But he did not expect that he was gradually being drawn into a nightmare that had been buried for many years. So, what is Tu Tien's past really? Who made her a victim? And does Jack have enough strength to pull her out of that darkness? Don't take your eyes off the screen, because today's story will make you unable to believe what is about to happen. Today, like every other day, Tu Tien still lies quietly on the hospital bed, deep in a long coma, not knowing when she will wake up. The room is white, eerily quiet, only the steady sound of the heart rate monitor, beep, beep, like a thin string tying her to this world. Tu Tien's face is pale. Her lips are dry, her long eyelashes flutter every time the wind blows through the window. Jack, despite his heartbreaking, still cannot neglect his work. His company is currently flooded with a series of contracts that need to be resolved urgently. In the confusion between two choices, love and responsibility, Jack has no choice but to put his trust in the couple who accidentally caused the accident that left Tu Tien here. From the very beginning, when they still didn't know who she was, those two people still voluntarily took turns taking care of the strange girl with a heart full of compassion. They did everything they could, from wiping her body, changing bandages, massaging her, to staying up all night to watch over her so she didn't have a fever or convulsions. Seeing how they took care of her, Jack knew they weren't heartless people, so he decided to ask them for help during his temporary absence. A seemingly simple decision that led to a shocking secret about to be revealed. This morning, the gentle sunlight poured into the hospital room like a gentle whisper of nature. The wife was sitting there meticulously wiping Tu Tien's face and hands with a warm towel. Her hands trembling but full of affection. Her eyes gentle like that of a mother taking care of a young child. Suddenly the door opened, and the husband walked in with a bag of breakfast in his hand. His breath still covered with morning dew. "Here's some sticky rice, beans, and bread. You can eat to warm your stomach," he said, placing the bag on the table and sitting down next to her. The two of them quietly shared breakfast, their eyes still on the girl lying on the bed. After a while, the man blurted out, "If our child hadn't been lost that year, she would probably be around this girl's age now." The wife nodded slightly, her eyes filled with tears. "Yes, sometimes I find her strangely similar, especially the bridge of her nose. Just like yours." They didn't say anything more, just silently hugged each other, a light hug but full of emotion, as if wanting to give each other a glimmer of hope. Even though life had taken so much away, they still believed that their daughter, wherever she was living well. But what they didn't know was that the girl lying there, quietly breathing weakly, was the bloodline lost all these years. She was their biological daughter, the child who had disappeared without a trace. That truth was silently floating in the midst of fate, waiting for the day to be revealed, and when it was revealed, it would make everyone burst into indescribable pain and happiness. While the two of them were still imagining their lost daughter, what her face looked like, whether her voice was like her mother's, whether her personality was like her father's, suddenly, a slight movement on the hospital bed made time seem to stop. Tu Tien's fingers moved slightly. Just a small movement, but enough to make the wife's heart tighten with an indescribable emotion. The wife jumped up as if an electric current had run through her. Her eyes opened wide in surprise and then lit up like a lamp in the dark night. "Dad, the little girl, she's awake. Dad." The panicked and joyful call rang out, causing the husband who was sitting drinking water in the passenger seat to stand up in shock. Both of them rushed to the hospital bed like two gusts of wind, so urgent and nervous that they couldn't breathe. Tu Tien opened her eyes slightly, her pupils vaguely scanning the white room. Her lips moved as if she wanted to say something but couldn't form words. "Darling, are you awake?" The wife choked, her hands trembling as she held Tu Tien's cold hand. But Tu Tien's reaction made both of them stunned. She jumped up in fear, her eyes wide open in panic. She stepped back, her mouth stammering, Where am I? Who are you? Who am I? Who am I?" Her eyes were filled with panic like a wounded little bird struggling in a strange cage. She looked around the room as if this was another world. Nothing was familiar. The panic made her hold her head and moan in despair. as if hundreds of screams from her memories were pouring down on her fragile mind that had just woken up from a long coma. "It's okay. Calm down, this is a hospital. You had an accident. It's good that you're awake now, don't be afraid." The wife quickly sat down on the edge of the bed, hugging Tu Tien's shoulder, her voice gentle like a lullaby. Her hand gently stroked the young girl's hair, trying to calm her down with all the love and tenderness of a mother. "Honey, go call the doctor quickly." She turned to her husband, who was also standing still, both worried and not understanding why the girl was panicking like that. Just a few minutes later, the doctor walked in, quickly checked her vital signs, then approached Tu Tien's bed. After looking over them, he gently said to the two of them, "Her waking up is a positive sign, but this memory loss is a normal after effect of a traumatic brain injury due to an accident. She temporarily can't remember anything, especially recent memories, but don't worry, her memory will gradually recover over time. The important thing is to keep her mentally stable." After saying that, the doctor left a few instructions and left the room, leaving behind a quiet but heavy space. Tu Tien now sat with her head down on her knees, her hands holding her head, her face covered with tears. I don't know who I am. I just remember, I was an orphan," she said in tears. "I lived in a village. I was often bullied by children, they threw stones, stole my food. I used to hide under the bed all night to avoid being beaten." Each of her words was like a knife piercing the hearts of the two grandparents. They looked at each other, their lips trembling, tears welling up in their eyes. Painfully, the first memories she recalled were not of joy, family or home, but only of suffering and abandonment. What shocked them the most was that she didn't remember Jack at all. Not a single image, not a single memory of the young man who cried his eyes out for her. Who carried her from the edge of life and death back here? Who sat silently holding her hand throughout the long nights? In her mind now, Jack was just a blank page, strange and cruelly vague. The room was strangely quiet, with only Tu Tien's choked sobs mixed with the old couple's broken sighs. No one expected, they had just met their biological daughter after so many years of separation, but in such a tragic situation, when she could no longer remember anyone. Strangely, after Tu Tien woke up, the couple did not tell Jack, even though he was the one who asked them to take care of her. Even though he knew that he had been running around for days to hold on to every fragile ray of hope. For some reason, they chose to remain silent. Was it possible that deep in their hearts, their love for Tu Tien had surpassed the boundaries of gratitude and responsibility? Was it because they saw in her the image of their biological daughter who had been lost for many years that they did not want to let go? Did not want to part again? In the following days, Tu Tien gradually recovered, although her memory had not returned. Her health had stabilized, her face was rosy again. Her eyes were still hazy but less fearful. She listened, ate on time, took her medicine properly and was no longer panicked like before. She gradually got used to the gentle care of the two people she only knew as kind grandparents. Not knowing that they were her biological parents. And the more familiar they became, the closer the bond between the three became. She often unconsciously leaned her head on her grandmother's shoulder, occasionally holding his hand as they walked around the hospital corridor. They looked at her affectionately, sadly, as if afraid that if they let go for even a second, she would leave them forever. Then the day of discharge came. The doctor confirmed that Tu Tien had completely recovered physically, only needing to continue monitoring her memory and spirit. The old couple quietly went to complete the discharge procedures. They did not tell anyone, nor did they send Jack a single word. Everything happened in silence as if it were a pre-prepared plan. When everything was done, they helped Tu Tien to the private car parked outside the hospital gate. The sky that day was clear. The gentle sunlight shone on the young girl's delicate face. She obediently got into the car, without any doubt, without any worry, because for her at this moment, wherever they were, was the safest place. The car door closed, carrying with it an untold truth and a blood relationship that was gradually being connected by fate, albeit in the silent darkness. After many days of racing with a mountain of contracts and papers, Jack finally managed to arrange his work. There was only one thing on his mind, He had to go to the hospital to see Tu Tien. He didn't know how many times in the past few days he had thought about her while signing the documents, and every time he had a fitful sleep, that pale face was imprinted on his face. He remembered the eyes that used to look at him affectionately, remembered the soft voice calling him Jack every morning when he woke up. And now, when he had finished arranging everything, he sped to the hospital with a heart full of hope. But fate once again teased him. When Jack had just stepped through the hospital's main hall, Tu Tien and the other couple had just come out from the small alley next to it. They were only a few meters apart, but no one saw each other. Everything happened like a fateful passing by, two people who loved each other deeply. Passing each other in just a fragile moment, Jack walked towards the old hospital room, his heart filled with anxiety, his hand tightly holding the small bouquet of flowers he had hastily bought on the way there. But when he arrived, he was stunned. The hospital bed was empty. There was no sign of Tu Tien. The nurse on duty looked at him, embarrassedly saying, "You're a little late. The patient was just discharged this morning. She has recovered and has been taken home by her family." Jack's heart felt like it was being squeezed. Feelings of loss and panic surged at the same time. He didn't have time to think. He just rushed out, ran around the hospital looking for her, calling her name over and over. But no one answered. Unable to give up, Jack immediately called Tung, his close friend who was a police officer, to help check all the surveillance cameras in the hospital grounds. In less than an hour, Tung sent him the excerpt. In the video, Jack was stunned to see the image of Tu Tien, sober, beautiful, but with strange eyes, being helped by an old couple into a silver car. There was no one else with her. There was no message left for him. They had silently taken her away as if they wanted to keep her forever. Without hesitation, Jack rushed into the car, following the address clue that Tong had just found from the license plate. The whole long way, his heart felt like it was about to explode. Thousands of questions swirled in his head. Why did they take her away? Why didn't she call him? Did she still remember him? When they arrived, a small house in a peaceful suburb, Jack just saw the silver car stopping in front of the gate. The old couple were helping Tu Tien get out. Unable to hesitate, Jack opened the car door, rushed out like an arrow, his heart pounding. "Tien," he exclaimed, then without waiting for her to react, he rushed to hug her like a drowning man reaching for shore. Tu Tien was stunned. She stood frozen in that strange embrace, her eyes bewildered. Who are you? How do you know me? Do we know each other?" she asked, her voice bewildered, her feet retreating. Jack choked, but still smiled through his tears, his hands holding her tightly. "I am Jack, your fiancé. It's okay if you don't remember, as long as you're still alive. That's enough for me." But perhaps the shock of facing a stranger who claimed to be his fiancé, combined with the pressure of not fully recovering from the accident, had made Tu Tien's mind spin. She turned pale, staggered, and then collapsed right in Jack's arms, unconscious right in front of her own parents' house. Jack panicked, picked her up, his heart choked with pain like the first time he saw her lying unconscious on the hospital bed. But this time, he wouldn't let go. He would bring her back, at all costs.